Hey, everybody, welcome to Happiness Patrol. We're back for another great episode. Who we are, we're a group of friends that said we're sick of toxicity in fandom. So we wanted to do a show about things that make us happy without all of that. And for our first season, that is Star Wars. And today we are talking about Return of the Jedi. And I've got a great crew here, starting with my own cousin, Cameron. How you doing, Cameron?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have another episode.
Yes, it's the first time we saw Star Wars for the last time.
Yes. And next up, coming from Edmonton, Scott. Hey, Scott.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Good. Surprise.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Pull up a chair.
You were expecting someone else.
I was, yeah.
I
had the friendly giant in my head, and I don't know why, because it's just what's in my head. And now we'll have to explain it to our American friends. So.
All right. Well, let's bring up one of our American friends. Let's start with Melanie.
Yeah, I'm not confused at all. So
you just accept it as that's us.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just gonna go back to crocheting, even though I promised you.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's the appropriate thing to do when Scott is talking. Just
disassociate.
Right. That's what everyone else does. I'm used to it by now. Why do you think I got 3 toques and a scarf? So,
and of course, last but far from least, we've got Jess. How you doing?
Hey.
Hello.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah, me too.
Not
to have me back, but to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a happy little Ewok behind you.
Yeah.
Ewoks everywhere.
Ewoks everywhere.
He's a weighted Ewok for comfort.
Oh. That's amazing.
He's just full of rebel scum and stormtroopers.
Swallowed a bunch of stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah.
I didn't ask where the weight came from.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tasted good on the outside.
You're just hoping for little plastic pellets or buckwheat.
Exactly. Everywhere in Florida seems to have Ewoks, because we got a couple of them over in Melanie's too. It's like just kind of across the bottom of the screen is all these little Ewoks.
They prefer the warmer climate.
Up here, the only Ewok is ignoring Scott completely. Is Scott over there? That's the only Ewok we have in the top row.
Yeah, no, they prefer the warmer climate than up here in Canada. So
it's true.
The Ewoks kind of signified like the first time people drew their line on Star Wars. You know, the quote unquote real fans would draw everyone draws their line somewhere, and that was the first one where it was like, oh, I love the first 2 Star Wars movies, but then they brought in those little teddy bears and made it all cute and for kids. And I mean, A, it was always for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
B, it's always dared to be cute right from the beginning. And C, I mean, we were talking about in the preamble, like those Ewoks were ready to eat Luke and Han and Chewie. They're vicious killers. They're hunters. They were standing up for their land. They were definitely a successful killer society of monsters.
Oh, absolutely. Even at one point, I turned to my husband when they're going at the end doing the battle, and oh, look at that! The Ewoks have a catapult. So these little furry little teddy bears know siege warfare.
Well, and the one that like crushes the ATST, like they were like they are down. Like
they were prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not finesse. They are force to be reckoned with. But anyway, we'll get there.
No, they were.
We can start there. We're there.
We're there. Okay,
we're there.
We'll jump back and forth. That's fine. We don't have to go in order or anything.
No.
I mean, think about it.
I always appreciated. I like the story that, you know, obviously he wanted to eventually by the third movie he wanted to bring in Wookiees and have Kashyyyk and but then you know that idea of man versus machine and a primitive society versus a technological society. And obviously Chewbacca was very technologically advanced and could fly ships, and the Wookiees probably had technology that no longer made sense. And then he was like, yeah, let's make them cute, let's make them little, let's make them vicious. And they are, like, sure, they're adorable. Wicked's adorable, but they are a little terrifying too. Their little
very
mouths, and they're,
Don't think about it too hard and you'll be fine. It's just like,
the one scene that I always forget about, and literally I've seen this movie thousands of times, and every couple of weeks I watch all the Star Wars movies, but the one scene I always forget about is when they get captured in that net, when Chewie goes after the food. Every time it happens, I'm like, oh yeah. And I even had the toy when I was a kid. I had that net thing, and but it always kind of surprises me. But I love when they fall, and it's not even like the Ewoks come out of the bushes. There's Ewoks just straight in the shot, just you don't really see them until they start approaching. It's really cool.
It's like they're sizing up the menu. Like they're like, ooh, what do we have tonight? Like it's just
they were hunting. They were out there. They set a trap, hoping to catch themselves some food.
Yeah,
and they found it. They were going to eat them. I love it.
You should see what happens when you lose the elections for running it. They eat the opponents. So, 100%.
Side note on that whole scene is when you can see Han's getting angry at 3PO. And you're watching Luke, and Luke is laughing. Luke is like, yeah, let him have this one. I mean, but the second Han then gets angry, and he's like, whoa, wait, no.
He's my friend.
Yeah. And and they're prepared to protect their golden god for sure. It's rad. Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit, because like we had him disassembled C-3PO in the last one. In the first one, we were made to suffer and all yada yada yada. And all of a sudden they're like, here you go. Here, let's come up, and you get to be kind of the star of the show for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it's
they
a great
didn't exactly just have a throne there with them. They went ahead, and these little, they have like the gift of Amish woodworking, where they're like, yeah, we're going to build him a throne. We're going to get him some type of a riser thing for 3PO, and trust these cattle up. Oh my God, these guys are I love Ewoks because they're so vicious.
Well, like they're explaining the plot, and he's making all the noises like, and the little baby Ewok is like, oh, like Nooch Vader, and he's like, oh, so good. It's so good. Anyone who hates that scene, I have no clue who you are. Like
I also love that 3PO in A New Hope says he's not much of a storyteller.
Yeah.
And then when he gets a chance to tell story, sound effects, everything, he's like the book on tape, Like,
Yes. I thought that was such a clever way for like them to throw in so much sound design. And they were like, oh, by the way, this person absolutely designed this sound. And they're just going to add different sounds, and it felt like it was almost like a bow to the sound design in that film.
And Bert gets his cameo.
Yeah,
because he's the one that gets thrown. I don't know what Han throws at him, and the reactor kind of thing. And he falls.
Yeah.
And he gets a Wilhelm kind of scream too on his way down for Ben Burt. It's like, okay.
And the director gets a cameo in the ATST when Chewie pulls him out and throws him. Yeah. No, it's I mean, the whole back end of this movie, the front of the movie scared me as a kid. Definitely. It was probably the first one I saw. I saw it at the drive-in. For any Calgary people, it was the drive-in that is where Anderson Station is now. So it's not even the drive-in we grew up on. It was the old drive-in. And my dog's barking. And the Jabba scenes and the throne room and all the monsters and the Bomar monk spider robot thing, it terrified me. It was so scary. It's this kind of slimy, dark, disgusting start to the movie, but then the back end of the movie is I mean, it's all final battle. They just said, okay, we're going to take the whole back end of this movie, and it's the big battle in 3 different places. It's brilliant.
It's funny because he always talks about bookends. And so you start the first one with the canteen, like Mos Eisley, and then you kind of get the same thing again on the same planet, but it's such a darker version of it, like compared, like when Obi-Wan's like, oh, scum and villainy. I don't really get that, but when you like think of like Jabba's palace, I'm like, oh yeah, scum and villainy. like everyone, like when they're like, even the robots, and you have R2-D2 making the little like, oh no, I'm scared noises. Like he is not in for this, and it says a lot. Like it really. We talked about the sound effects from C-3PO, but the sound in this whole movie, all of Star Wars, don't get me wrong, but like really well done. Tells like R2-D2 making like the little quiver and like in a little like says so much about like we are in danger here.
They're torturing the robot.
The bookend that you were talking about, like Han basically calls that out by saying like, yeah, I grew up here. You're gonna die here, convenient. But it was almost like it was almost a little meta of being like, we started here. Looks like we're ending here. Even though they're not ending there, but it's like, of course the audience doesn't know. I mean, technically but yeah, it's fine.
Well, so again, jumping around, I've argued the very best moment of all of Star Wars is in this movie. I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm about to say it again. Come along while I ramble on for a minute about so Lucas. Oh wow. I wasn't expecting
if you're going to ramble on for a minute, let's zoom this in.
We leave episode 5. Han is in Carbonite. The end is nigh. We're doing that. We come back. Things are dark, but we're putting the team back together. We get to the best moment in all of Star Wars, in my opinion, is, and you got to think about this with the idea that you don't know what's happening. Like first time watching it, we just had the like anything can go. We just the end of the last one, everyone is scattered, everyone's down. We have on the planet's not going well. They're trying to get the shields down around this. They're not too sure if it's fully operational yet. The second Death Star. You got, I think it's like Nub Nub and Lando and the Millennium Falcon, and they're flying towards this thing. And Nub Nub goes like, I don't know. He says something. Lando goes, no. My hand's going to got this. I got hand. But he's saying it. You can tell he's telling himself this too. Like, no, he's got this. I think he's got this. Right. And then you get the, things are bad. Akbar says it's a trap. Not the best moment, but awesome. And then the Millennium Falcon does this weird turn, and you see they've been pinched. They're being trapped in, and the Millennium Falcon kind of cuts through the TIE fighters, doing this weird twist, cutting through, and you're seeing the scope of like the Star Destroyers and the amount of TIE fighters and everything. And there's this moment where you're like, this might actually end on a downer note, actually. like this, they could do it again. Han is being captured on the planet. You've got Luke getting his butt handed to him because he's not going to fight. I'm not going to fight you. And then so Palpatine's like, yeah, screw it. We'll just barbecue Luke. And like, it's just like, and then you get that moment where Millennium Falcon's cutting through the TIE fighters is the best of all the Star Wars. And it's such a small moment, but it says so much in that one scene that my favorite moment in all Star Wars. So, and that's in Return of the Jedi.
I had that as a poster. I had that poster of the Falcon coming at you with all the TIE fighters and everything. It's a beautiful image. And then complicated shoot.
The Death Star fires and destroys Nebula B, I think it is, and it's just like you're just like it's fully operate. Like it's such the end is nigh. Like there's so much going on there that it's like, and the fact this movie takes all 3 of these battles from the 2-on-1-ish on the Death Star to the small land battle and this, like it's kind of like Rogue One in a weird way, where you have these multiple battles going on and they're so interconnected where everyone matters like to each other in a weird way. I guess the Palpatine, Luke, Vader thing, is more of a grandiose. It's like the ending of what we think. Yeah.
Proper end game.
Yeah. But the other two really affect each other, right? Like it's handled so well, adaptly. Like you can tell the skill. Like they've got this Star Wars thing figured out by this moment, and it's being like it's really well done.
Oh yeah,
I'd even say they shadowed it a bit in Phantom Menace, because there was the space battle and the lightsaber battle and the Naboo, the Gungans, and that idea of kind of three things going on at once in three different places.
I don't feel that one is handled as well, and I think that's because of the size of the land battle. Like you have these massive armies. Don't get me wrong, I love me some droids. I played the droids in the Legion game. But I think the size of those battles mean you have to focus on it more. I like the small personalness. Like you have the three people, and then you got a couple squads, like a battalion, you will say, on the planet, and then you got this massive air battle going on. Like it's.
Well, I think it's easier to do snippets of guerrilla warfare versus battlefield, and I think that's kind of where the plot got lost in. Not actually lost, but in the episode 1, because for a battlefield battle to have impact, you have to see it in its scale. Whereas with the guerrilla warfare that you see on Endor, you just have to see those little springing the traps. And those are such quicker snippets to completely tell a full story while not fully pulling our screen time.
No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, also, you got like Duel of the Fates is a better song. Don't get me wrong. Duel of the Fates is maybe the best music in all of Star Wars. I will stand behind that. But you have the three people as well. You got Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, and Qui-Gon. Here we have the three, and you can see like it's again bookending. I guess if you want Lucas and his is like it's really that I think is done really well. Assault in the City would probably end up being the equivalent of the Endor in episode 1, and then the space battle would be space battle. But it's I don't know. I think it's Lloyd.
Well, I don't think that because one of the biggest things, and like I noticed this when I first saw Return of the Jedi as an 8-year-old, and I got so excited, is the lighting design in that final battle in the throne room. Because that moment when Luke is sitting there and has half of his face blue and half of it red, and like 8-year-old was like, it's a visual representation of what's going on internally, and it's so cool to see that and like recognize that. And I feel like that kind of gets missed a little bit in the spectacle of Duel of the Fates, because they have some of the lighting there, and I think some of it was because technology had advanced, like they could do cooler stuff. And so then we got shiny and flashy versus like the impact, like theater. It honestly, Return of the Jedi feels more like a theater production with lighting and sound, and it's very almost intimate.
Yeah.
Whereas the other feels more like a grandiose spectacle.
And it does that kind of all the way through, because you've got, the throne room is big in Jabba's palace, but it's still self-contained.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it never felt big to me. It always felt really crowded and cramped.
That's where I got. I think maybe if it's big, it's just there's so many people in it. But then you have the Emperor's throne room, and you got 3 people, and even then you had 2 guards, and they were told to leave.
Yeah, like there's just so many spots in there where it's so enclosed and so just in a box that it works so well, jumping between those boxes, and even as they're moving forward, right? It keeps the scale of it feeling nice and tight, even when it is very grandiose and very over the top.
Not to spoil moving forward, but I do feel in the episodes this is the last one that has that subtlety. When we move into the next the 7, 8, and 9, I feel like a lot of that subtlety goes out the window. where it turns into this just grand space opera, where with Return of the Jedi it feels like a grand space opera because it's so emotional, where the other one is trying to be like hit us over the head that this is important, you need to pay attention. This one goes, no, you'll get there, like this is where it's at.
We can get into it, but I think like Snoke's throne room after Snoke has been dispatched and it gets down to just Kylo and Rey. That's pretty intimate. It's pretty closed off. It does feel theatrical and all that. I think that was probably very much inspired. I think one of the most important lines in all of Star Wars happens in that throne room. And it's funny because I saw this movie 1,000 times before they made the prequels, and the line didn't have the weight until the prequels. And it's Luke throwing away his lightsaber and saying, I am a Jedi like my father before me. Something no Jedi has said for thousands of years, if not ever, because Jedi don't have children. They were at some point, they probably did, and then they realized this is not the way to do it. But literally, he's the only Jedi to have a child who can even say that. And it's such an important line. It's such an important moment when he puts down his arms and says, you're going to just have to kill me. Like this is not how it's going to end. I'm not going to kill you in hatred. I'm not going to turn to the dark side. I'm not going to. And then when he shoots that lightning, I don't remember a life before knowing he could do that. But I imagine for anybody watching Jedi in the theater in 1983 for the first time, lightning comes out of his hands and you go, whoa.
Yeah.
Did we
They can do that? They fly now? Yeah.
What? Yeah. And it's and again, you know, as we move forward in other Star Wars projects, people get really bent out of shape when there's a new Jedi or Sith ability that they didn't know they could do. And it's like, that's always been the case. They always introduce new things in these movies, and there's a bit of a limit to what they can do, but there sort of isn't, you know.
Oh, that's because you haven't heard the story of Darth Plagueis.
The wise.
It didn't work out.
Well, to that point of like the throne room scene before the prequels, and they didn't know the prequels. So yours is the most impactful line. Mm-hmm. I think the funniest line happens in that throne room. And that is after Luke kicks Vader down the stairs. Vader turns around and goes, Obi-Wan has taught you well, as he has the high ground.
Mm-hmm.
That is the funniest line.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't have known that was the funniest line when it was written, because like that line we know was not written by George yet. Yeah. And so it caught me off guard when I rewatched Return of the Jedi, like after I had seen the prequels like more consistently, and I'm watching Return of the Jedi and he like kicks him down and Vader goes, Obi-Wan's taught you well. And I'm like,
I love that.
Well, even then during the scene there, the cat and mouse piece, when he's like, realizes, Leia exists, or at least, the twin sister.
Yeah.
And it's the, Obi-Wan was wise to hide her. I'm like, man, Obi-Wan has just lived rent free in your head, and I am here for this.
Yeah. He gave him a lot of credit for pulling the strings in the background. But I think that's sort of what he's used to, because he knows on the other side, it's Sidious pulling those strings all the time. So he's kind of just going with the way he thinks the world works. Yeah.
When you look at episode 3, when we get to the high ground chat, he's so focused on Obi-Wan and blinded by this, like, you are taking everything from me. I can see that carrying forward, and we kind of see it in the TV series too, right? Obi-Wan, but like when you're that consumed that you're choking the quote unquote love of your life, you are so in the sauce that you can't see beyond it. Yeah, this is Obi-Wan is his like white whale. Like it's just like in this, and now I dispatched
you turned her against me, and it's like she has free will, my dude.
Yeah, like it's you're reading the situation wrong. Like, but we know that as the outsider looking in. But like, yeah, and then he finally catches Ahab gets his whale, and it's not enough, and so he's looking for the next, and that's where the dark side fills that void. So, yeah,
I have a couple things of like headcanon. One, I think the second Death Star is fake. I think when Vader shows up at the beginning and is telling Jared, like, we have to get this online, we have a deadline to meet, and he's like, we need more men, we can't do this. I think their moment, like the deadline they're working towards, is not the completion of the station, it's the readiness for the battle. And I think
laser.
the laser is really all they really built. It's not going to be a working Death Star like the first one. It probably can't go through hyperspace yet. That's why they had to draw them to them. It's not going anywhere. It's not working. It's not going to be a headquarters for anybody. It's just a ruse. It's like the town in Blazing Saddles. It's just a fake town to lure them in, and they're going to get the laser up to a point. I don't think that laser could have blown up a planet, but it could take out those ships, easy enough. So I think that in my head is that it is sort of a ruse. It is a trap. And the Star Wars thing is to spring the trap, and it worked out for them. The other headcanon I have is when, there's this thing of the Sith with the two, or whatever it's called. The idea that Vader keeps saying to Luke, I can't destroy my master. You don't understand. I can't kill him. And I think Palpatine has built in a failsafe because he knows the story that every single set of Sith, they raise up the apprentice, and then the apprentice kills them, and then it continues on that way. I think that Vader's suit is somehow being run by Palpatine via the Force, and the idea is that if he kills Palpatine, his suit will shut down.
Or like
and I think that's other than the electrocution, the electricity running through it probably shorted it out or whatever. But I think that the killing of Palpatine kind of was the end for Vader. Vader was never going to move forward and become the new Dark Master.
I've kind of, to dovetail on that, I've always kind of thought that he knew, even when if I want to include the fact that watching it, I go, dude, did you not remember Dooku? What is wrong with you? But I think it's Vader knows that he understands and realizes how powerful Palpatine is, and that he knows that the end game will be, I'm gonna die and my son's gonna take over. And I think that little hint of good in him is that he wants to make sure that his son lives and not him. So I kind of think that he knows that he's okay with being off.
Yeah, certainly at that point.
But that's how I kind of always translate it. But I do like what you're,
because he doesn't know that 3 movies from now Palpatine's going to return. So
yeah.
Yes, and I have
the right answer.
Somehow.
Mel, that was the right answer.
Somehow.
I do have a whole thing about that, because I think that this prophecy that they talked about from episode 1 was that the chosen one will bring balance to the Force. I said it before on the episode 1 thing about the midichlorians, and we're going to give the Force back to nature. And the prophecy was that Anakin was the only one strong enough to kill all the Jedi and destroy Palpatine, and by doing that, he would die. The only mistake he made along the way was that he had children. And this little existence of Luke and Leia was enough to kind of keep it alive. They didn't completely give the Force back to nature, and that was enough for Palpatine to incorporate with the clones and all these other things that were going on to kind of not not fulfill the prophecy, but give a little fighting chance to the dark side. And then, of course, Leia having a son as well, which if Leia had gone full Jedi, she wouldn't have had a son. And at some point, this line of Jedi has to end. And it's almost like they should have made a whole movie about how the Jedi need to end. And they did. And it's a masterpiece. But that's sort of how I think that all ties together.
Nope.
Well, Jedi are allowed to have.
We'll get
Jedi
on
are
that.
technically allowed to have children. Actually, there's even certain species, Kiadi Mundi species, have during the time of the Clone Wars, they are allowed to mate and have children because their species is extinct or becoming extinct. So having kids has never been forbade. It's more so the attachment aspect. And I think it was one of those of when you obsess over so many rules for so long, those rules can become convoluted as to the reason behind the rules.
And
that's
deadbeat parents are encouraged.
Well, one of the things
have thy baby mamas, have your baby daddy, and then move on.
Well, one of the saddest things that I hate that we've lost by having the Disney's continuation post this versus like the Legends was what we saw with a healthy version of a Jedi having a healthy, non-possessive and ownership relationship with Mara Jade. Because the main thing was, and it's the Star-Lord Gamora thing, which is you don't have to be attached and you can still love and not have attachment. It means that the entire universe is more important than that other person. My personal want for their life is not going to trump my duty. And that's what the Jedi were forbaying against, which is why way back in the day, Jedi were allowed to fraternize, but then a couple broke the rules, made it chaos for everyone else, and they're like, oh, we got to set a rule. So it's literally the few ruining it for the rest of us. And then centuries keep going, and they're like, yes, you can't even have friends that you love. And it's like, wait, what? We lost the plot.
Well, and I'm basing all of this just strictly on what the movies, like what they say in the movies.
But even in the films, they say they are not against love. They're not against that. It is literally exclusively attachment is what they talk about. And Anakin
interpretation, right?
Convolutes that.
Anakin was just trying to throw down his game, though. I'm not exactly listening to him.
Padme's cute.
He showed Padme his lightsaber, and it all went downhill from there.
Gosh.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Let's jump back to Jabba the Hutt.
Yes, let's.
On showing his lightsaber. Let's see.
I love a puppet, and I love Jim Henson's Creature Shop. And that Jabba the Hutt puppet was a absolute masterpiece. And I mean, a lot of the characters in that room were people in costumes and puppets and animatronics, and it was really throwing all the top technology at the wall and cramming it into that little throne room. But then simple things of, a guy literally put his hand inside the tongue and made the tongue go, and they're jumping in with goo and putting goo all over them, and
two separate people for two separate eyes.
I mean,
yeah, eight different performers doing Jabba the Hutt and just making them rock and making them move and pulling
when Leia basically tells him, I want 50,000 credits, and 3PO translate it, and he just goes, what? I love that. I have that screenshot as a meme, and I have it saying the audacity, and I use that in my chats because he's just
I think Jabba, very, very clever, very smart man. He knew immediately when Leia walked in dressed as Boushh with a Sega Genesis on her head, somehow 10 years before the Sega Genesis came out. When he saw all that, he knew what was going on, and he was just like, I'll play her little game. I want to see how this plays out. They let her unfreeze Han. They all hid, and they let her go through the whole motions. They were like, okay, let's see how this plays out. I want to see.
But she speaks, was it Ubasi or something like that? Whatever language it is. It's like, that's, to me, Return of the Jedi is just like this perfect. I can make it the case of this is just called the badassery of Leia, and how many times she does things that are just unhinged.
Yeah.
So then just she goes in there as a bounty hunter and speaks the language and has no problem. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to turn this detonator on. What happens next? You know, Leia would have actually taken it and thrown it because she's unhinged. She's not Padme. She's Anakin.
She chokes him to death. I mean, she was the one that she throws the chain around and she chokes him to death. And
put me in a bikini, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
I always love how Carrie always said that too. So like she always think about the space slug. The space plug put me in that bikini, and I killed him. I'm like, yes, little girl, like I will look up to you.
C-3PO sells it's a thermal detonator. Like it is. Everything about that is spot on, and you don't get to be giant and immobile for the most part and not be smart. And so there's no doubt that he's sniffing something. Like the moment C-3PO and R2-D2 show up, he knows something's afoot. So.
Well, I would say definitely when he sees the hologram from Luke, and he would know that name Skywalker. I mean, he was at the pod race. He would know him from destroying the Death Star. Like that would have been in the news that this, so he immediately sees it. He kind of gives a look and he's like, I know what's happening here. I've dealt with Jedi before, and it's really fun to watch. Jabba is actually a great performance, on a lot of levels.
On every level.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that isn't. And the more you find out about Jabba, the behind the scenes, the puppet, the performance, the more impressive it becomes.
The heat in that room that they were dealing with.
And then inside the puppet within it and dying of I don't know how much we were sweating and dying. I remember watching some of those videos when I was little, like on the old down here was called Movie Magic, and showing that.
We'll watch that.
And just them.
Can you imagine the smell?
Yeah. I mean,
well, also like, I thought they smelled bad on the outside, but no. When we go back to the original thought for Jabba from episode 4, where he's just like, the bigger guy in the fur suit or the fur vest, like that could have been Jabba, and boy, would we have lost out. Like just truly and even when in this, maybe it's one of the good things about the special edition is like changing that out. Because like there's a scene where Han steps on the tail and he makes the whole thing. Like it's so well done. And then it leads us into this mastermind of like, when they go, oh, it's a hut, and everyone goes, oh, it's a hut, right? Like it's you're selling this through action and very, very subtle performance and choices. And it's like there's again, this movie from beginning to end is just like Jess was saying, just subtlety and performances and just really selling this idea of this world. And I don't
George is so good at like pulling from the right things and to like that idea of the Sultan, the entertain me. I'm sitting here. I got the dancing girls. I've got the monster below the trap door, all those things from his, favorite movies from the 30s and 40s. And yeah, I love that. I love the, you mentioned special edition. That I love the old song in Jabba's Palace. I love the new song. It's ridiculous and fun, and it really gives you that sense of like these are just like bad guys being bad guys. It reminds me of the Club Obi-Wan scene in Temple of Doom and all that stuff. Right?
It really is the whole sequence of scenes. That whole set is some of my favorite stuff in all of Star Wars, honestly, because it is just the bad guys being bad guys. Just chilling. It's there's no pretense here. There's no question about are they good, are they bad. There's no did Han shoot first. It's these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one scene that messes with my head canon, and that's Max Rebo laughing along with all the bad guys, because everyone thinks of him as kind of just the good-natured keyboard player because he's
Nah, he's morally gray.
He
Hold
knows
on.
very
You
Yeah.
also have the guy who owns the Rancor,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's a sweet. Literally, her name means sweetheart.
Patisa.
Like she's just a baby, okay? She's a
Yeah.
cutie patootie, and they don't feed her well. That is not
No.
her fault.
That's because Jabba is evil.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how you know.
So the
Everything
good
else was him.
people
Yeah.
are that Rancor, the handler, and Max is gray.
Yeah.
Morally
Max-
gray.
Max
Big
Rebo
Fortuna
had
is a great character. Droopy McCool's a great character. Cy Snoodles is a great. Salacious B. Crumb is
Oh, yeah.
steals
I
the
Oh yeah, I
scene.
love him.
And
Yeah.
and one of the things I think that is
Walking.
really well done, because we're bringing out these little bits, and I think what was well balanced with this was the world building, because he didn't fully Tolkien, but he like gave it so much depth that it still, we didn't lose the plot talking about Tom Bombadil for 5 chapters. You know, like we got a lot of this brilliant world building in such a condensed way because we're able to mention all of these, characters, and we don't necessarily know anything about them, but we're like, love Max Rebo. He's fantastic,
Yeah.
And then like you've got all of these headcanons, like the I can't remember his name. I know the Rancor's name. Don't know the Wrangler's name. But
I
him
just know
being
the
such
Rancor
a
Keeper.
yeah, and he's such a softie. And I'm like, those little things just made this such a well-rounded world.
Mm-hmm.
The languages, as Melanie was
Mhm.
saying, because you've got Ewokese, you've got Huttese, you've got what Leia speak, like so many different languages. So it felt
Bib
so much
Fortuna
more
is a great language.
expansive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is the one that I think really expanded Star Wars to being not as self-contained. This made it feel like a full universe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, especially like in episode 5, you're only what, Hoth, Dagobah, Cloud City, Sebespin,
Mm-hmm.
and the asteroid, if you want to call it that. Like it's such a small film, even compared to the first one. Episode 5 is really, really episode 4 by the first one. Really contained this small personal story. And here you start with the walking up to the palace. The palace is big, but lit really, really small, and there's things hiding everywhere in the shadows. And then you get Dagobah again, and then it just blows out into this massive, like Mad Max Fury Road style. Like, we are going to 11. We're staying here, and then you get the Endor, and actually there's really not a lot more planets in this too, but
Many Bothans though.
Many Bothans.
Yeah. And you get Mon Mothma, which is a great
Yeah.
and now we know so much about her backstory. And there is a scene when they're preparing to leave, and obviously they were kind of setting up like the Falcon was maybe going to be destroyed, and Han's looking out the thing. There's a shot where Leia kind of says like, let's go. That's like, it's all right, let it go, we'll go, let's do this adventure. And people always point out her long pinky nail in that scene, but what they miss is that she clearly says captain and they dub over general. For some reason she says, let's go captain, but the mouth movement's way off. They clearly
like, come on, flyboy.
Yeah. And I also love Shuttle Tidarium. Whenever, certainly when the 3 movies were out, whenever somebody asked, like, if you could fly any, or if you could own any spaceship from Star Wars, what would you own? And I always said Shuttle Tidarium. I loved that it worked. Like the Falcon, I'm not the type of guy who's going to have a old 70s car that I got to tinker with. I don't want to, I want to turn the key and it goes. And that Tidarium was a beautiful shuttle. I love when it takes off and the wings fold down.
And the sound on it is so good. Like, again,
amazing.
Sound.
Amazing.
And think how many people are on that too. It's not got a small cargo hold either.
It's all the Jedi
Rebels on there.
rebel soldiers that they all landed there. I never really got a good sense of how many rebel soldiers went to Endor with them.
No.
I got like
They said it was a
two-
small strike
yeah,
team.
2 or
Yeah.
3 dozen tops. They don't show many. Like if
Yeah.
it wasn't for the Ewoks, they would have been done.
Right.
Except if
Yeah,
you're Hood
absolutely.
Kennedy and
It
Nick
felt like
Sands.
20.
Yeah.
But there's something very kind of classic good guy movie moment there where wherever they go, they meet friends that are going to help them, you know, like it was almost like, and there's a moment in one of the making ofs when Mark Hamill, going back to when the Ewoks capture them in the netting, Mark Hamill's talking to George and he just kind of says like, am I concerned about this? And George is like, no. Like, you know, you can kind of feel everything's going to be okay. So stay calm, stay positive. And he plays it. He does it very well of like when he, exactly what you said, when he tells Han to don't worry about 3PO, but it really, you know, there's something kind of sweet and special that they landed there and then they joined forces with the locals, you know.
One of my favorite things about the Endor is ATST marches up. Princess Leia's been hurt. You know, she's hurt. And then Chewbacca comes out and goes, "Hey, it's me!" And then Han goes, "What are you
Get out of
doing?
here!
Come down. Wait a minute, I got an idea." And then and he's just like, or they're throwing the thermal detonators at each other inside, like just like these things are like, and they're just like, "Here we go!" There's an urgency to that scene. You can tell they're like, what's going on up there? We got to get this figured out. And so we're OSHA be damned. OSHA is Canada's like, I guess you guys having this.
They have OSHA.
Yeah. It's OSHA be damned. We're going to get this done, right? Like we got to get this passed. We promised, like, you know, they're dying up there, right? So,
and that's a huge explosion when they blow up the shield.
You can see it from space, I bet. So
massive explosion.
I like that they bookended when Leia gets shot. They bookend the "I love you, I know." So they did that again, good. And then you see how fast she's able to draw on 2 stormtroopers and with a pew pew. It gets them both. Again,
they almost don't have enough sound
point.
effect. Like there's certain cuts of the film where they only put in 1 sound effect because she shoots so quickly, and she also picks off the guy at the top of the ATST. On one little shot. I'll go back to what I said in Empire. Nobody uses the Force more than Leia. She's using it every second of that movie.
Well, even when she jumps onto the speeder bike, I love that she jumps on it and you have Luke screaming for her to slow down. And she was already off by the time he had finally got on. So he could have missed her. She's like, nope.
She inherited Anakin's ADHD.
Like, nope, I gotta go get these guys now.
No, this is pod racing. Sorry, what? No, continue.
Yeah.
She also figured out, and it's not in the movie, but it's in the comic adaptation, where in order to catch up to the scout trooper, she realizes she's going to die if she's trying to get through all these trees. She flies up above the trees and speeds up and then comes back down, and you do kind of see her come down at an angle,
weird angle,
and in the comic book adaptation you really see her flying above the trees, which is brilliant, you know. Like also the filmmaking technique that went into that sequence, the physical animatics they shot, the way they ramped the camera, the way they shot Steadicam, the sound in that sequence is incredible. You really get the sense that it's the fastest thing you've ever seen in your life, and it's faster than the trench run because it's organic material going past you so quick. It's beautiful. It's one of the things I remember from being 3 years old, you know. Like it was one of those things that stuck with me, and I wanted a speeder bike as much as I wanted a hoverboard.
I've wanted that ride from Disney, Universal, wherever, until then Disney got Star Wars at their land. And I like Star Tours. I was fine with Star Tours, but I'm like, yay, they're gonna make Star Wars land. Give me a speeder bike. Give me a speeder bike. I like Smuggler's Run. It's awesome to be in the Falcon, don't get me wrong. Rise of the Resistance is the greatest ride I've ever been in my life, because my God, is it so immersive and just goes on forever. What a speeder bike ride. They made Avatar. They made Tron.
100%.
Give me a speeder bike ride.
Very
Come
much
on,
like
Disney.
Tron. Yeah, I'm in. Give me all the Star Wars rides. Give me a pod racer. Give me everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Just replace all of Disney Hollywood studios with just all Star
It's
Wars.
just a Star
Yes.
Wars.
And we're good
Yeah.
with this.
Yep.
The cynic in
Want to
me
make your money
goes,
back?
it's only 2 at a time, and that's the reason why. Like you can only do so much. Like at it, like or it's like when you go through a haunted house and the group behind you or the group in front of you, you're so close to them, you see what's going on. Like, and it
How
just
great would it be though when they load 2 people and it's
See, but Hagrid's
Have you
Motorbike
any-
Adventure, the
Yeah.
way
You
that
know,
they
the
do
Avatar
Hagrid's
ride?
yeah,
would be the same way because you've
Yeah.
got the motorbike
Chain
and
it.
sidecar.
Yeah.
So like, just turn those into speeder bikes. That's like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of going this way, go this way.
I also
Yeah.
love when Luke breaks the guy's neck, which they in some versions of the, like, I think it's the mono theatrical, there's a good clicking sound when he breaks his neck. They've gotten rid of it in the special edition now, but
when they throw the guy off the speeder bike and he hits the thing and falls,
Yeah.
like that, the idea like that, like down, and you can still hear them flying, but they pause on this dude, just getting every bone in his body shattered, and and just like but it says a lot to the speed of what we got going on here. That's enough to like end this man. Like
a great sequence. That whole sequence.
We just tenderized a stormtrooper for the Ewoks. Like it's just like
And even an Ewok can figure it out because it knows the hand controls. It knows that okay, brake and you know your throttle are up here, and I think it's adorable when it flies. It's like, I love that.
I guarantee.
Like, no, I got this. I ain't got this. When he grabs the little thing and swings up out of the way.
I guarantee they've been a nuisance to the Imperial forces the entire time. They've been running around stealing things and attacking them.
It's all the teenage Ewoks.
Yeah.
It's the American graffiti, but it's on this planet. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, there's a mode called Ewok Hunt, where it's like 4 stormtroopers and everyone else plays Ewoks, and it's a dark and they're hunting down the stormtroopers or vice versa.
It's just hard.
It's like a horror movie game.
It is because they're all going.
Vietnam and the trees speak Ewok. Like it's just like it's. I could not imagine. Like it'd be like half height teddy bears are like coming to eat me would be just what I'd have nightmares for the rest of my life. Like
so. I think the thing that we also very much have to discuss is the very end and the 3 to 4 different versions that we've gotten through the years
of the Force Ghosts. You mean?
Force Ghost versus seeing all the different planets versus the song change.
The Yub Nub
as well.
Yub Nub.
I love that song.
Yeah.
So
Toto's
much.
Yub Nub. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like the New Williams one.
I love
because
I
think it helps really push that the entire galaxy is.
It gives it more weight.
I like the scope for it.
I kind of wish they had given us the Yub Nub in the credits though,
because
like I agree. I think the Williams one gives you that hopeful, but it's not. We lost things along the way. I feel like it kind of adds that weight to it.
I mean, I
miss the Yub.
Yeah,
I love that song so much.
I do really feel like I want to live in a world where all these versions exist and we can, you know, we're not going to watch this one more time and be like, okay, that was the perfect version. We're going to watch it 1,000 more times and we can watch a different version every time.
And you can put it in special editions, like or as special features on Disney Plus. That's what they did with Muppet Christmas Carol. There's 2 versions of it, but the longer version is just in the special.
But it's like they try to erase any previous version. And I'm like, can we
Let's
stop?
Like
going back to A New Hope, I don't want to hear Obi-Wan going, "Wow!" Like that's not a Krayt dragon. That's someone. That's a frat girl. Like,
woo!
How about
that in Nashville?
Vader's in the throne room. No. Like I could live without. I mean, I don't hate it, but I could live without it. It definitely surprises me every time.
Yeah.
This last time I watched the Disney Plus,
pick her own adventure like
Yeah,
which version,
branching
and you
from
get to
kind of-
click which version you want, and it's
$1,000,000%. I
like-
love that.
So
How about Force Ghost? Because we started with the Sebastian Shaw Anakin Ghost, and now it's Anakin or Hayden Christensen.
can
Yeah.
I interject just small?
Mhm.
When Jess was like, "Oh, we should talk about this," like we haven't talked about Yoda dying yet, and so like I'm like that happens in this one too. Like that is like a big moment of like Yoda being like, "Hey, heads up, you this is about as complete as we're gonna get for my time." Right.
Mhm.
And then you get the ghosts and the walk, and like it's funny. We're talking about all this great stuff, but this big moment happens and we've missed it. Yeah.
There's so many big moments. This.
Well, Mel thinks
Just
that
like
Yoda's
he was-
overrated. And
he
I
was
seem to
the
remember-
biggest punk of like, oh, I just need to go to sleep. Oh no, it's fine. He was trying to literally get out of the conversation.
Well, when
He's
900
like,
years
I
old,
need to
we were-
die
never
now,
tried to
so I don't have to
avoid
deal with
a
you
conversation
anymore.
so much you just die.
And then finally he's like,
I
I'm
got
gonna
kids.
die. And then
Yeah.
Luke hits him with an audacity moment and he wakes up like,
Well, like it's what if you've ever been in a room with like a couple of kids and they just keep asking questions, I totally get the Yoda thing. I
Yeah,
totally get it. Like I'm just like
he
I
was
am
ready. He
done.
was ready to
Like,
go.
why?
He had his back
Because I said
turned. He
so.
was turned over. He was ready to go. And there's the I am a Jedi
Or-
Knight. You just
or-
what? Just,
I
Yoda,
also
what the
think
hell?
Yoda knew everything that happened on Bespin. Told you did he? No, Yoda knew. Like he's planting those little seeds. He's trying to get Luke to figure out what his next move is on his own. He definitely knows that, same as Obi-Wan in A New Hope. He knows his job is done. Obi-Wan is fighting Vader. He's stalling the whole thing. He's got the tractor beam off. He turns and looks and he goes, okay, Luke and Leia are back together. My job here is done. And he knows he's going to be more useful as a Force ghost because of this Qui-Gon training. And I think Yoda is at that same point too, where he's like, at this point, I've instilled every wisdom I can instill. I'm just in the way if I stay in this.
And see, I see it as that he didn't like him calling himself a Jedi because I'm like, no, you're not done yet. And then that he used the rest of his little Force self to turn around, slap him down of that notion, and then say, by the way, there is another Skywalker. And then that was his way of saying, deuces, Obi-Wan, you deal with this. And then
we just finished the holidays, and every once in a while, like when the guests won't leave, I'm like, I might just curl up and die. Like it's just like,
He's like,
it's just like it would be easier than being like, okay, it's about that time, eh? Like it's just like,
Trust me, I know what that's like to say, oh, it's about that time. And things
So-
just keep going.
So what I'm hearing
Don't look
is
at me.
we
On
now
that
have a
hour two.
I'm looking
code.
directly at you.
All
Yeah, I
Star
know.
Wars fans should now have this code. If we want you to leave, we'll just look at you, grab your hand, and go, there is another Skywalker. And then, oh, I've overstayed my
You're
welcome.
like,
I'm out. Like,
drop a robe, like drop a
Yeah,
blanket or a
you
robe
just-
with medals.
okay,
Yeah.
understood. I'll leave. Sorry I stayed too long. That's the
My
way we
bad,
can
my bad.
communicate.
Also,
Yeah.
I'll say the puppetry in that scene is unbelievable. When
Mhm.
little Yoda crawls up in the bed, and when Yoda turns, and when Yoda dies and disappears, and the blanket falls, and all that. I mean, they're using very rudimentary technology to make that look
And it looks
spectacular.
phenomenal.
Mhm.
there is another.
It's so good. It's so
Just
good.
like, and then like it's just like, yeah, like it's just like.
I
Can
also
we
love-
do this a little differently? Can we have the blanket fall? Actually, we don't.
I
need them
I
out
also
window.
love when then the ghost of Obi-Wan comes back, and as he
Mhm.
walks under the tree, he actually like knocks the vine away.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like you kind of get a sense of like, oh, these like the Force it's not just projections. These are like
It's a wee
Kind
bit
of-
of corporeal.
there's a little bit physical. There's something kind of energy about them. Now, when the three show up, jumping back to the end, when the three show up at the end, there's no way anyone else can see them, correct? It's just Luke that can see him. I've never felt
Leia?
for a second, because Leia comes up to get his attention to bring him back and makes no
I
gesture.
think for that, yes, but I think they can reveal themselves to anyone they choose. They're only choosing to reveal themselves to Luke.
I believe that.
It's like,
I do
Big short
enjoy that it is Anakin or Hayden Christensen now. I think it does make sense that even though like basically Anakin died at that look, it's been Darth Vader this whole time. Darth Vader doesn't, I mean, I know it's called Return of the Jedi. I don't think Darth Vader fully comes back. It's too late for him, as he says.
Mhm.
I think to have Sebastian Shaw there as an old man with arms and legs and body doesn't necessarily make as much sense as the Anakin that died at the hand of Darth Vader in the Mace Windu scene.
I'm conflicted on that. I'm almost for both in a way. Once again, I kind of wish we could have them both at the same time. But the reason that I am, because I love that we see Hayden, I love that connection with the prequels, and that's why I like it. But from a plot perspective, it almost makes it seem like it cheapens redemption. And it basically says it doesn't matter what you do in the end. If you've done all this bad stuff, you're screwed no matter what. It's the earlier version that you get. And it's like, no, like the whole point is you can do all of this horrible stuff, but if you make that choice at that very end, even if it's in those last moments, and you make a difference to literally help bring the Force back into balance in that last moment,
fulfill the prophecy.
That is the person that deserves to live in infamy, because the Anakin back in the day didn't do all that. It's the one that's been through the fires of hell itself and come out the other end that I think deserves to be represented. But once again, how many people have played Vader in these three little films? So seeing Hayden makes it a little bit more like connected, because that's the person that we have seen the most visually. So from a cinematic, I'm okay with Hayden, but from a storytelling, I feel like it cheapens the redemption, because symbolically it feels like, oh, you just revert back to your old self. And it's like, no, the old version is the one that did it all.
He did it. He made it.
The difference, and we had a toasted marshmallow.
Just
a burnt marshmallow.
I think Scott's about to die.
I want to interject quickly. All the hate mail for Jess saying it was 3 little films, go to jess@happinesspatrol.com.
No!
Okay.
I do not think that those are my 3 favorite films.
Yes, do not fully like 3 little films.
Nope.
There's people who just had aneurysms out there.
I have more
their brains exploded.
But on the flip side of that, we've also had like multiple episodes of me gushing about these 3 little films.
No. The 3 little films, I just went, oh no.
Mel, you were gonna say?
I think, my thing is, my take is I would rather have the Sebastian Shaw one.
Yeah.
Only now, even now, knowing more about the Force with the animated, the prequels, all that kind of fun stuff, and that this little technique has to be learned. And even though that this is the chosen one and all that kind of fun stuff with Anakin, I think this having Shaw ties in the fact that he learned it. He learned it from Palpatine, because he was saying how you could cheat death. I think that's what old Plagueis was actually teaching Palpatine, was that you could do this kind of become one with the Force, But I think because at the end, when he's on his little bit death stairs or death ramp, and he's like, "Tell your sister, you were right. There was good in me." I'm like,
a little light in the background lines up with John Williams perfectly.
Yes,
yeah.
So for me, I mean, yes, I like that. It was neat seeing Hayden. I was like really like, oh, that's kind of cool how it ties it in. But I'm like, it should be the battle with hair this time.
I do have more headcanon.
Fan servicey.
Yeah.
But I like the fan service, but to what Melody's saying. Like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna grab
plot-wise,
torches and pitchforks. It's just if I prefer one, it's I
It-
kind of prefer.
yeah.
They
the
both
other
make
one.
sense for sure. Now, I do think there's a scene in episode 3 where Yoda is meditating and he can see he can feel what's happening on Mustafar, and you clearly hear Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon say, "Anakin, no." And I think that Qui-Gon has stuck with Anakin / Vader throughout this, and I imagine he's present in his meditations and his learning going forward. I think part of the reason why Qui-Gon developed this becoming one with the Force and Force ghosting was to continue this training with Anakin. So I believe pretty strongly that when, if anyone ever says, obviously Obi-Wan and Yoda learned how to do this, how come Anakin shows up? To me, I feel like Qui-Gon's spent as much time training him in this technique as he has them. So I would even put it on Qui-Gon, not necessarily Palpatine. I think Palpatine is more looking for, I don't think he thinks in the spiritual realm as much. I don't think the bad guys
That
are
particular
willing to
technique is
sacrifice.
exclusive to the light side, because the dark
Yeah.
side, the way that the dark siders always maintain their life, they have to attach it to a physical place or
It's a
object.
Horcrux.
Yeah, or a person.
They're basically, it's very Horcruxy with that, but that's kind of where that cheap. Well, and this is not a technique that Qui-Gon developed; it's one that he rediscovered. So this is a technique that has always. But I always thought that Anakin. I love these theories. Like everyone can have their own, and it's brilliant. But I always thought that the reason that it's easier for Anakin to be Force Ghost is because he was half Force. So it is there's not as much tangible self.
It's a quicker journey.
It's a quicker, he got the shortcut, fortunate for him. But I think some of that is also kind of
because I forgot it was Qui-Gon that taught Yoda.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, because
and
Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan now we have canonically.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan's like, go to Dagobah, Yoda, meet Yoda. He's the one that trained me, and Qui-Gon's like, bitch. Like,
well, and we know Anakin has
dreams.
dreams. We know that Anakin gets Force dreams a lot.
Mhm.
I can absolutely imagine that
to be
he
fair,
has those little Qui-Gon Force dreams of
to be
communication.
fair, a lot of people after me and Padme had Force dreams, so it's just heads that.
All right.
And on that note,
there are 2 Skywalkers.
There is another.
There's another one.
There's
gotta
another
go.
one. There's another one.
Now, I will say very quickly that a lot of what I have a thing that I'm going to get to in episode 9, or not our episode 9. This is episode 9, but Star Wars episode 9. I do think that a lot of what they baked into how that played out is a continuation of this conversation now about what Palpatine was trying to accomplish in the throne room, what this idea of becoming a Force Ghost, what the Sith version of that is. I think it's all kind of there. This movie does a much better job presenting it in a palpable, cohesive way. I don't know that episode 9 ever really explains what they were trying to say, and if they did, like, I think I figured it out, and if I did, they did not communicate it in a clear, concise way. But we'll get to that in a few.
Did not communicate in a clear, concise way is actually the subtitle for episode 789. So
yeah.
I thought it was They Can Fly Now.
And I really do feel like Star Wars works best when it is a singular vision.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you had Kirshner in there saving us at every turn on Empire, and you have Richard Marquand doing a great job bringing some emotion and theater and some of these really positive things into Return of the Jedi, this was George Lucas's vision from start to finish. And I truly feel that way about the prequels. When people love them, when people hate them, you can't say that it's not George Lucas's vision from start to finish, maybe to a fault even. And then once you get into the idea of other people trying to jump in and play Star Wars, it's great. I love it. I want to see it for the rest of my life. I never want to again see the last Star Wars movie ever again. I want that to happen long after I'm gone. But I really feel like leaning into the idea of a singular vision beyond that of marketing will make for a stronger Star Wars, the strongest franchise on the planet. It'll make it that much better.
Well, because you have Kevin Feige with the Marvel stuff. Is there a chance Dave Filoni might be that?
I wouldn't trust him. I don't know if he's my guy. He's not my guy as far as who's going to do this. I think Kathleen Kennedy is the closest thing we have, and I think we have a lot to thank her for in keeping any kind of cohesion out of what I would describe a little bit as everything post Jedi, from the novels to the Ewok adventure movies to everything that came after Jedi has been a little bit chaotic.
Mm-hmm. That's a very, very diplomatic way of saying that.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it's not great. It doesn't mean I don't throw on the Ewok movies. It doesn't mean I don't throw on 7, 8, 9, which I love. Everything that has existed post Jedi just doesn't have that vision the way these did.
Well, you can tell because nobody hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan, and like it's just like, and then all of a sudden, like the reinvention of the 1, 2, and 3 about like, oh no, these aren't so bad, really came after 7, 8, and 9, like where we're like that almost rudderless feel of 7, 8, and 9, because George is like, I've had enough. You guys do your Star Wars, and everyone went, oh no, we kind of miss your Star Wars. Like
I think
the whole reason he went
there
because he got tired of being bashed by his own fan group, and now
Yeah,
suddenly, look what y'all did.
No,
And that's why we're here.
Yeah, he grew up a little too, and that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to grow out of these movies ever, and I like that he has said, I've grown up. I want to do other things. I want to explore and be a different type of filmmaker now, which that's great. That's what he should do. And when that Disney deal happened, Disney's the perfect place for this. There's no other house that should be taking Star Wars into the future. I think it's built for children. It's built for telling these types of stories. It's got the financial, a small studio couldn't have taken on
it's
making new Star Wars movies. It just, and also Disney is always been innovative from the start, from Snow White. They're willing to be innovative. They're willing to put something on screen that is maybe not for that moment, but will one day be appreciated. I think it is the right place for it, and I can't wait to get into the sequels, the Disney sequels.
You're saying that, and though I was like, no, Fox makes the most sense, but now Fox is Disney too. So
yeah,
like it's just like I'm like eventually, I was like, I wonder if like an A24 like Star Wars film would just be like a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah,
and then I had my blaster, thermal detonator, and I don't know, like name, and C3PO. Hey, what am I doing here? And like it's just like
Jeff Goldblum as C3PO.
Yeah.
And now there are 4 Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Again,
we're done.
Segue.
Yeah.
You just up the Skywalkers as a warning. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
when you reach 5, that's when, like,
Yeah, we're running out of
I
time.
didn't even get into me thinking that's clone Captain Rex in Endor. But okay,
right?
fine.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know
I don't
that
know this
connection.
one either. Let's
Is
do
there
it.
one of
Mel gets to do a Scott.
Here
one
we
of the
go.
rebel
All right,
soldiers?
so
Yeah.
When they're on the Andor, here we go. I know that they kept calling him Nick. I think it was called Nick Sant. So their whole idea was kind of, or Saint Nick, being Saint Nick. So the guy with there's a guy with a beard, older chap, has the goatee, all that kind of stuff. If you start watching Clone Wars, you start noticing that they started patterning Old Man Rex towards this character. Why would this one particular character be a clone captain? Possibly, you might think. Well, if you start watching it again, just when they land and they open up the bunker for the first time. Han does his fun little over here, runs that way.
Yeah.
You see that he runs into the group of people. The group of soldiers right there. There's my boy. I'm going to keep calling him Rex. Rex is right there with the gun. They stop him. Rex puts his gun down and starts taking off his gear.
Because
then the next scene you see is them coming in, and the guy is now in the scout armor, the trooper armor, and the helmet's going on. I'm like, that's weird. Why would you put a guy all of a sudden dresses up as a maybe somebody who used to maybe know how to wear this kind of armor, even though maybe.
I love it.
And then if you're not sure exactly if it's him again, when they do get rounded up, when they do have everybody like this, and you have that wide shot, you'll see everybody, including our boy Rex, like this. His helmet's off, and he's kitted out in his stormtrooper armor. So in my opinion, if you're going to have a bunch of rebels, here's the one rebel that knows how to wear, at least kind of serve a republic.
And knows the codes because he came up with them with his friends.
Yeah, it knows how to use the communicator and everything, right?
And while this is a headcanon, it's in some ways, if you look at one of the old, oh my God. Here, hold on a second, people. Sorry, Dave.
I'm not being blamed for this one.
Yeah, brother. I am a clone trooper.
Cool.
Yeah.
Little golden book. And in these famous pages, 1 second. I'm so good. Exhibit A. What is this? There's my boy Rex.
I love it. I love this.
Years later, Rex and the other clones joined the rebellion to fight the Empire.
Oh, well, there you go. It's canon. It's canon.
It's canon, baby.
Yeah. I love it.
And Mal, because we have time, why don't you read the book to us?
Would you like to read the whole thing?
No.
That would make me happy.
It would make me happy as well. But I don't know if we can get away with that.
Okay, fine.
Oh, no. We can get away with that.
We're small enough. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not at all. That's really cool. I just like that Dave is like looking at the clock.
Oh, and the Bad Batch.
And the Bad Batch.
That's my boy.
Order 66.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, Lord help me. I love this was on my Amazon wish list.
I love it.
So there are 5 Skywalkers.
That's how we know we've hit it. Also, it's the forest moon of Endor. Endor's a different planet.
Yes.
That is 100% correct.
Yes.
This is true.
Yes.
Disney, on their name tags, it says Endor. And I'm like, you are not from Endor, my dude. Don't say there's Ewoks on your planet if you're from Endor.
Forest moon of
Endor.
Yeah, but
Yavin 4. Yavin's a gas planet. You're not living on that one. Sorry.
Well, you can live above it.
Endor's a gas giant too, isn't Endor a gas giant too?
I think it's water.
Oh, okay, water. Yeah. I thought there was some reason why they needed the resource to build the second Death Star. Anyway, I think Dave should take this away.
I think
we should too. I just realized I'm in the wrong banner section.
Cover.
There we go. So why don't we go through and Scott, tell us where we can find you and something that is making you happy.
Breakfast Scotch National, like always. By the time you see this, Pawn and Pixel should be doing a thing. What's making me happy is watching Dave squirm. because like
I saw that answer coming.
Oh, I'm like again, like, oh, it's not me this time. This is great. Like I love this. This is great.
I saw that answer coming.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And I think 3.5 is too low for Unforgiven. Next up.
that, ladies and gentlemen, is a Horses on Film reference. So yes, watch Horses on Film. Speaking of horses on
now,
film,
like Star Wars, they're interconnected.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of horses on film, Cameron, where can we find you, and what's something that's making you happy?
Well, yeah, you can find me on Horses on Film. And like I said, if I'm not on it, I'm talking about it. It's youtube.com @Horses on Film. We're going through the top 100 Westerns of all time. We're adding to the list. We're subtracting from the list. We're doing bonus episodes now. We're deep into it. We're enjoying it. It's fun. And I'm loving it. But that's youtube.com. It's at letterbox.com. Horses on Film. We're putting our lists up there, our rankings, all our ratings. There's an email. You can email us, and yeah, we're getting a little bit of a community going, and that's what's making me happy is that there's people in. I've got messages from South Korea, from Ukraine, from India, and all over the U.S. and Canada, the U.K. People are watching Westerns and following along the show. So it's been great, and I'm excited. And that's every second Monday at YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever you devour podcasts. We're loving it.
Excellent. And Melanie, where can we find you, and what's something that's making you happy?
Something that's making me happy right now is I'm getting back into crocheting. So an example, like I've showed everybody else, is I'm making little tiny hats for my little Buddhas. So, yay, look at them. They're going to be so happy and fuzzy. So they need the little crocheted red hats. You can find me online on the socials and all that stuff here and on my Instagram, mostly at Pieces of Melee. Still kind of going crazy at work, which would be at Diamond Tech Crafts. You can see that there. That's where I have all my stained glass mosaics, all that kind of fun stuff, where I daily have migraines because I have to figure out tariffs. And if you happen to be in Germany, I will be attending a conference there in February. So if you're going to Creative World, I'll see you there.
Neat.
Nice. And of course, we can find you on our station Who as well.
Oh yeah, there's that tiny little podcast. That's Doctor Who. Sorry, and you'll see me elsewhere. I'm just all over the place. I'll be on.
You stop into Horses on Film. You're everywhere.
Wherever somebody wants me and my crazy opinions, I have a lot of opinions, and I'll share them. Damn it.
Yes, you will. And Jess, where can we find you, and what's something that's making you happy?
You can find me at Song1 Cosplay on Instagram and stuff. I'm really bad about posting, but I've been posting a lot of my fight stuff. So, when does this premiere? Like February?
March? February?
March?
March 5th.
So MegaCon, if you're in
MegaCon, yeah.
I was like, what do I have going? We're already ramping up for that, so I will be there with Saber Guild, and we should be doing performances and teaching youngling stuff. So if you're in the area and coming to MegaCon, I'm going to be with the Star Wars Village, being a Jedi. So that's making me happy and very stressed out, but happy. I love what I do. I am a Jedi.
You should take a Jedi meditation class while you're at MegaCon.
I will probably be teaching a Jedi meditation class. Actually, I do that. I've done that the past 2 years. They have me every morning at the open of MegaCon, and I do lead a mindful meditation for about 45 minutes that's Jedi themed. So it's good fun.
And
just kind of sets you up for the day.
And what
March
Qui-Gon
19th, 20, 21, 22.
My focus determines my reality. Yes.
Yeah. And what Qui-Gon Jinn has shown us in episode 1 is there's no bad time for meditation, even in the middle of a battle. We're going to sit here and wait. We're going to do this.
Take your moments. Take your moments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even Jabba the Hutt, wind chime enthusiast,
I like it.
Everyone's got their hobbies, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dave, where can we find you?
Well, as for me, you can find me all over the YouTubes. You can find me most Sundays on Spill the Geek Tea at Spill the Geek T1. Of course, hopefully where you're watching us right now, as long as someone hasn't stolen our material, at Happiness Patrol Show right here on YouTube. Please subscribe, like us, share all of those other YouTube pandering things. Tuesdays on The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You can find me there talking Doctor Who on every other Monday, along with Scott and Cameron on Horses on Film. And in between all that, on youtube.com/the rathole.dotca. That's the rathole.ca, but YouTube does not like URLs in their URLs. And as for something that's making me happy, I just set our second season of episodes. We're going to talk about that not on the air. You're going to have to wait, folks at home. But these other yahoos are going to find out what we're doing next season here in a few minutes after we finish recording this.
Yay.
I'm very excited. Very excited. We got some Star Wars to get through. I think there are going to be some good conversations.
Oh yeah,
about episodes 7, 8, 9.
We are going to get into good stuff.
We've got a Force Awakens to next month. But what schedule are we on? Next month. So please join us back for that. And other than that, we'll put this up, and we'll put some music on, and then we'll go away with the kazoo. Don't sue us, Disney.